Welcome back to another Ret Paladin video. Verabin here. Today we have more tips and footage on the climb to 2400 and getting that Gladiator title. I'm still working on 2s this week, and I did open my vault and get the weapon, so that is really exciting. So we're going to test that out in Arena a little bit, and we're going to look at some more lessons learned from pugging 2v2 all the way up to 1600 last couple weeks, and then 1800 this week. We're going to talk about some of the things you can do to get there as well. So let's hit it. All right, so if you're struggling to climb in 2v2, I don't think that you are alone. From what I've seen, there's been a lot of really high-rated players continuing to have low-ish ratings in 2v2. I've seen, a lot of rank 1 players playing down in 2000 ranking, for example, 2000 rating, I mean. So my point is, I don't think you should be concerned about that as pushing 2s. I think if you really want to push rating and try to see where you're actually at, 3v3 is probably the better place to do that. I think most people start in 2v2 to kind of get their feet wet in PvP, but I think that in the current meta right now and at the very beginning of the season and stuff like that, the ladder is still shaking up quite a bit. So first thing I wanted to get across was that don't get discouraged if you're working on good at getting there and you're getting stuck at 1600 or 1700 or 1500 or something like that, because as long as you put in the time and put in the effort and learn the class and learn the matchups and stuff like that, you'll eventually get there. And right now it's just kind of a tough meta to start in right now. The other big thing that I learned from pugging 2v2 for the last few weeks was that I have a tendency to play just like a little bit here and there. I'll have half hour to play here, an hour to play there, and so I'll just kind of play with whoever I can, and some of them work out and some of them don't. But the problem with that strategy is that some people you're just not going to play very well with, and when you're pugging, you really never know what you're going to get. So you end up playing with people and losing all the ground that you thought you made with another player. So I have a recommendation there, and that is to keep pugging. And if you find somebody that you like, talk to them and say, hey, I thought we played pretty well. I got to run, but I'm going to hit you up on battle.net and we'll play again some other time. And get 3, 4, 5 people like that and stop pugging. Just stop pugging altogether, because every time that I just picked up a random person after playing with a successful person, it almost always was worse. So just find somebody that you gel with and kind of try to stick with them and don't rush it. You know what I mean? Just be patient and you'll eventually kind of slowly improve your rating. The next thing I wanted to mention was that in 2v2, there's obviously 2 different types of comps that you're going to see. You're going to see double DPS comps, and you're going to see healer plus DPS comps. And I think by far the easiest and maybe less frustrating, I'm not really sure, one to play is obviously to find a healer to play with. The problem with the healer plus Ret comps is that Ret doesn't really have good peels for a healer, so you don't really have great mobility, so you're going to end up running around the map a lot and not getting a lot done, and your healer is going to kind of have to be self-sufficient. So you're going to want to find a healer that's kind of self-sufficient. The games are going to be much faster if you play with another DPS, like if you play with, say, like a warrior, or even someone like a shadow priest or a rogue or someone like that, someone who's just kind of inherently going to be strong in this meta. That's another way to do it. I think those games are going to be a lot faster, and they'll also be easier for you to find partners for those games. And you're not going to have any of those 10-minute losses that are very frustrating in 2v2, where you grind and you almost get a kill, and then you push and you almost get a kill, and then you lose because your healer runs out of mana, or you just get, you make a mistake, or for whatever reason you can't close the deal. So the matches can be really frustrating if you're trying to find a healer. And pugging a healers are much harder to find. So you're going to pug a healer, but the healers are in much higher demand. So it's just going to be harder, and it's going to take longer and stuff like that. So you're going to have to make a decision there. What kind of games do you want? Do you want fast games with double DPS, or do you want to do sort of slower games that kind of give you more practice with a healer? All right, so if you're like me and you really like painfully long games that are sort of like chess matches and less like really fast, bursty kind of games, then you're going to try to find a healer that you work well with. And fortunately, Ret works pretty well with a couple of the best healers that are out there right now, and that's either a Holy or a Disc Priest or a Resto Shaman. So Ret actually works really, really well with those two. So we have a couple pretty good comp options to play with. So I've been playing with Disc Priests because that's just kind of who's available, and there seems to be a fair amount of people playing that class. So I want to talk a little bit about the strategies there. You can see there's been a game playing in the background against a Windwalker Monk. Windwalkers are extremely strong in this meta, and so they actually work pretty well. They have extremely good mobility, so they're going to be tough for Ret Paladins to chase down. So basically what you're going to have to do in 2v2 is you kind of have every minute you have an opportunity to kill somebody. You're going to have Seraphim, and if you're Kyrian, you're going to have Divine Toll, and you're going to have Wake of Ashes, and those things combined are enough to kill someone 100-0. If you weave in a couple Templar's Verdicts in there. So you have a much better kill opportunity every 2 minutes when you have wings. So basically what you're going to do is you are going to play it really safe for 45 seconds, and then you're going to have about a 10-second kill window with those cooldowns. And then if that doesn't work, then you're going to have to wait another 45 seconds or a minute and try again, and you're just going to have these goes. So every minute you're going to have a kind of a stressful time where you're going, and otherwise you're just going to be kind of killing time, basically trying to stay alive, trying not to waste your healer's mana and stuff like that. And if you're lucky, every 2 minutes you'll be able to get a kill that looks something like that. Now, there's another type of fight that you're going to have when you're playing with the healer, and that is fights that go much faster than that. And that is the goal, honestly, in these games, because if you don't get a kill right in the opener, then you are in for a really, really long game. So Holy Paladins have been one that I have had pretty good success one-shotting right at the beginning, because some of them, I think, panic and they'll bubble. You can see in this clip, the Paladin popped his magic wall. I hadn't pressed a single button yet. I haven't popped any cooldowns or anything. So I stopped. I didn't press my cooldowns. I waited until his stuff was up, and then I popped everything and just blew him away. So another comp that you're going to see a lot of is Rogue Mage, and Rogue Mage is one that you are going to really have to have a good answer for, and I am not great at these fights, so I am going to show you an example of one where some things went right and some things went wrong, and so we're going to break it down just a little bit, because I think these are the fights that you're going to need to be able to play, because as you go up in ratings, these are going to be more and more common, I think. So this is a matchup against this team, and you can see sometimes every once in a while you'll get the rogue out in the opener. Every once in a while you can run up and actually judge the mage and you can get him out. You can see in this case we didn't. I immediately popped Trinket and I popped Bubble. So the problem here is that what I did wrong here was that I overlapped a bunch of cooldowns. So I didn't need to Trinket and Bubble and use Shield of Vengeance. That was really stupid. So what I should have done was, once I saw that I was going to get opened on really hard, I should have just bubbled. So you can commit one of those cooldowns, but you don't want to commit all of them, because what's going to happen is they are going to just clear. They're going to reset, and then they're going to go again, and you're going to have nothing. And they know how long your cooldowns are going to last, so they are going to do their best to just kind of get away and reset it. So what I'm trying to do here is keep the rogue from resetting. You can see that I got DB'd, and I'm trying to stay on the rogue. Unfortunately, I don't really have a reliable slow. I can put a slow up on him, but he can vanish. He can get away pretty easily, so I swapped to the mage, try to hit the mage a little bit. Mages are going to be extremely hard for us to kill, because all they have to do is blink and poly us, and there's not a whole lot I can do to stop that. I can interrupt one of them, but he can just fake me. My stun is only up every 30 to 45 seconds or so, depending on my uptime on the target. But this is going to be that's a really, really important thing to consider with this, is you really kind of have to get the rogue out. You want to get somebody stunned. You want to force those trinkets. Hopefully you can stun one and then maybe have your priest fear the other, or if you're playing with another class that can CC, have some other kind of CC available. But this mage did a really good job of peeling for the rogue and letting the rogue get away. So this match did not go very well. You can see there were a lot of mistakes that were made, and I almost made it to the next wings, and I probably could have killed him, but I didn't quite make it there. So that was a loss there. But I think there's definitely some lessons learned. So overall, 2v2 is definitely a a little bit of a wolf's den, I think, for new PvPers, and it's a little bit of a trap, I think, because if you haven't PvP'd a whole lot, then you're going to go into this thinking that, hey, we're just going to pug and try to get some, get some rating and get some gear and stuff, and it's a lot harder than you think it is. So I think that it just takes a lot of practice, and if you're new to PvP, it's definitely it's definitely going to be a test of how much you really want to get better at this, because it's just tough. It's tough out there. It really is. So anyway, I just want to show you guys some videos and talk kind of about my PvP journey as we're going through Shadowlands. I have a goal of getting to Gladiator this season, and hopefully every season, but definitely the first season. I haven't PvP'd seriously in a really long time, so it's something I'm still getting used to. So that is all for the video. Please be sure to hash that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next one.